and welcome back to another Makeup Monday. Today I thought I would share with you some of the products that I am loving currently, that I have actually been loving for quite some time. But I'm going to focus on the category of powders. So I'm going to share with you the powders that I have been loving, and I use them for different purposes. So I'm going to explain what each powder is used for and what sort of area of my face I use it on, and just share with you some of my favorites. So let's get into it. I have them all here in this basket. Okay, so I want to share with you my favorite powders at the moment, and some that I have been using for years and years, and some that I have actually repurchased a few times. So I'll let you know which ones those are. So the first one I want to share with you is the NYX HD Finishing Powder in Banana. And this one is, I think, like a cult favorite. Everybody talks about it, everybody loves it. And this one I use to set my under eye. So after I correct and conceal, I apply a little bit of this to set my under eye. I also set my eyeshadow primer with this powder as well. So that one's a favorite, and one of the greatest things about this one is that it's very inexpensive. So this is the second one I've had. I've completely used the first one I bought, and this is a repurchase for this powder. Another powder that I have repurchased and love is the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. This is another one that is a cult favorite, and it is for a good reason. A really finely milled powder, and it is fantastic for setting your face after you apply foundation. I have it in 01 Creamy Natural, and this is a repurchase. I used the other one completely, and it took me about 2 years to use it up. As well as the NYX one. It also took me about 2 years to use it up, but I repurchased it. I haven't used it. I haven't begun using it again because I have other powders that I want to finish up. Then I have one that is not as inexpensive as those two that I had just shared with you, and it's this Dior compact powder. I love this. Actually, before I got into makeup, this was the only powder that I used. I didn't use foundation. I used this powder as my base, and then I would do blush and eyeliner and mascara, and that was about it in terms of how much effort I put into my makeup. But I love Dior products. Of the high-end version of products, Dior is my favorite brand, and I have had this powder, this compact powder, and I use number 032 for years. I've used this for I want to say decades. Like for 2 decades I've been using this powder, and it comes in different versions. There was a smaller version that I had. It was just like half of this size, and then this powder I've purchased twice. So I've repurchased this powder like 4 or 5 or maybe 6 times, and it's very, luxurious looking. They do have the obviously hip hand, and this is about to, and I don't know if I'm going to repurchase it because I have so many right now, and this is expensive, and I'm not using it for what I used to use it before. So it comes with a little puff here that I've since thrown out because now I just use it with a brush. And this, in other countries in Europe, this can be you can repurchase just the insert and just continue using the compact, because there's nothing wrong with the compact. It's perfectly fine, and it hurts to throw this out. But in the US, I don't know why they don't have it. They don't have the replacement versions of it, so you have to buy the full compact again. And it, of course, comes with the little pouch, which all Dior products come with. But the reason why the reason why I'm not going to repurchase this is because I'm not using it for what I used to use it, which is to cover my face as a full base, as a thick, more full coverage powder that I would put on my face if I was not wearing foundation. So that is not what I'm using how I'm using powder anymore. I use powder more as a setting powder, like I use this Rimmel one, or as a setting for particular areas of my face, like I'm using this one for my under eye. So I don't think I'm going to repurchase this one, this Dior powder again because of those reasons. But I have, and also I have another powder that does that same, that covers that same purpose as the Dior one. This is the Maybelline Super Stay Better Skin, and I use shade 25 Nude Beige. The packaging, actually, the design of the compact is very similar to the Dior one in the sense that once you open it, if I can open it, it looks the same in terms of, it has a mirror, it has this little puff. The Dior puff is very similar to this one. And then the powder, and you see it's on the darker side, and it's a thicker powder. It's not as finely milled. It's more covering, or covers more than the Rimmel one or the NYX one. So this is one that I would use if I want to not use foundation and just use powder on my face, as the same way I used to use the Dior. So these two are sort of overall face powders, thicker, more covering, or more full coverage that I would use if I'm not using foundation. Whereas these other two are thinner, and I would just use on top of a creamy product, either concealer or foundation, just for setting purposes. Another powder that I use for setting purposes, but it's a different kind of product, is the IT Cosmetics translucent, and this is a Bye Bye Pores loose powder, and I love this. This leaves your skin. I use this again as a setting powder after foundation to set, as I would use the Rimmel one. But this one leaves your skin like it's silk. You touch it afterwards and it feels like silk. It's incredible. It's just I had never felt anything so smooth on my face before. And it comes with a little puff and a little sifter. Mine, as you can see, has been used. And I kick some of this powder into the sifter, and I use a brush and I set it all over my face, or sometimes I just use the puff and I puff it all over my face. So incredible. I love this. I've had it for a long time. I've used it a lot. This is not a repurchase. This is the only one that I've ever bought of this kind, but I would totally repurchase it again. Another one, and this is a sort of an honorable mention, is the IT Cosmetics by Pore Impress. So this is the same powder as this. It's also the translucent version, but this one is a loose powder and this one is a pressed powder. And this obviously is a little sample that I've gotten, and it also comes with a little pressing puff, and there's the powder. It sort of has a little bit of a banana tint. This is the second sample that I had. The first one I completely used up, and this is the second one. And I would totally repurchase this powder once I'm in need of a powder, but I have so many right now that I don't need another one, but I would completely repurchase this one. It's very, very good. It's as good as this, but in a pressed formula, which allows you to take it with you and not create such a mess as you would with the loose version. The other two powders that I have to share with you, let me share this one with you first because it's similar to the IT Cosmetics in terms of it being a loose powder. This is the Cody Airspun Loose Face Powder, and I have it in translucent. So all of these powders I use to set my face. That's why they're in translucent. They're not to cover or not to change the color of the foundation that I have applied. But this one, I haven't had this one for too long. It does the same thing as this, as in terms of leaving your face as, you know, silky soft. But this one, what I love about this one, and people that have reviewed this product don't necessarily love what I love about it, which is the scent. This reminds me of my grandmother, and in a good way. So it comes with a sifter as well. I don't want to tip it over because I'm going to make a mess, and a little puff. And it smells delicious. I smell this and I put this on my face and I started to tear up because my grandmother passed away last year, and I couldn't be there for her wake or her burial. Is that how you say it in English? Entierro. And every time I smell this, it reminds me of her, and I love it. I treasure this powder because for me, scents, and for a lot of people, scents take you to memories, because scents are really closely associated to memories. So they take you back to a certain place or a certain time or a certain person that smelled in a certain way, and this takes me back to my grandmother, and I miss her very much, and when I smell this, it just brings me home. The last one I want to share with you, now that I'm all teary-eyed and should pause this, but okay, the last one that I want to share with you is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in dim light. I have mine in dim light, and it looks like this, and it's a compact powder. This is a more high-end, like the Dior one. So of all the ones that I've shown to you, this one and the Dior are the two more expensive ones. The rest, you can find them at either Walmart or Walgreens or any drugstore near you, or the IT Cosmetics ones you can find at Ulta. But this one I got at Sephora, and it's really, really light. This one is different from anything else that I have. It's a really finely milled powder that I put on my face, and I put it all over my face as a finishing powder. And what it does, it gives luminosity to my face. It's like I have a filter on. So one of those Instagram stories or Snapchat stories, that filters that you have, I love that Snapchat, what I call the pretty filter one. It just glazes over your face and makes you look perfect. This does this for your face in real life. And I don't use it every day, but every time I use it, I feel like I look different, and people compliment me on my skin and like, oh, your skin looks really great. And it's this. So yeah, I love it for that purpose. So they all have different purposes. Some of them are for setting my foundation, some of them are for setting my concealer, some of them are for full coverage when I don't want to use foundation, and some of them are for creating effects on my skin that will just make me look like I have no scarrings or no pores, which is not true. So there you have it. I hope you find any of these that you might be able to use on your own. As I said, they're easily accessible. You can find them at Walmart or CVS or Walgreens or Ulta, or some of them are more high-end and you can get them at Sephora or Macy's, Nordstrom, those kinds of beauty counters in those stores. So I hope you found this useful, and that you can maybe share what your favorite powders are and what you use them for. And if these work for you, then great. I hope to see you again soon, and thank you for watching, and thank you for being here with me. Bye.